decided to clear up some of these rumors and decrease the amount of negativity that was being spread towards her. I shut down some of the imposters on the social network pages such as MySpace. I cleared up some of the news boards and became somewhat of a Kelly Kelly review journalist or critic. Mixture of opinions are thrown at me with the whole Kelly Kelly situation. Some people like to refer to me as a critic. Some people like to refer to me as someone who sheds a bit of positivity towards Kelly Kelly, when the majority of the radio show hosts, columnists, and journalists out there will spend most of their time on their radio programs and for the written columns criticizing everything Kelly Kelly does. Some people will say she's not a Trish Stratus. Some people will say she doesn't belong in the wrestling business and she's disgracing it. I, for one, think that Kelly Kelly is the complete package. She has beauty, grace, and she has really evolved, I guess is the term that you can use when you're talking about Kelly Kelly acquisiting the Divas Championship to her resume. She has really gone under a transitional period where she has evolved from being an exhibitionist who couldn't dance and who actually admitted that she was unable to dance and wasn't exactly the best dancer on ProWrestling.com several years ago for a written interview. She admitted that her dance skills weren't up to par with some of the other divas like Candice Michelle, who she had the opportunity to work with when ECW first launched back in '06 for an Extreme Expose that had many variations of it through the time the Extreme Exposés were available on ECW and ECW.com. Before that idea was dropped from Kelly Kelly's resume and presentation. She admitted that she wasn't the best dancer and maybe it was time for her to try something else, so she started in-ring competition with some of the divas, and for the majority of the time when she first started out, she'd be the one who put over other divas like Beth Phoenix and put over divas like Candice Michelle, who was at that point in time when Kelly Kelly was starting to be an in-ring competitor, a top contender for the Women's Championship. I have nothing positive to say about Candice Michelle because of her attitude problem that needs some correction, but I'm not going to get into that. I think that Kelly Kelly, definitely created a lot of magic and was magnificent and started to ring with people like the Bella Twins and people like Candice Michelle. She even had the opportunity to work in a bikini contest with Tori Wilson, who I have a lot of positive things to say about her in the program. Kelly Kelly virtually has done it all in 5.5 years, regardless if you like her, if you don't like her, if you have positive things to say about her, or you spend the majority of your time being negative towards her. She is one individual who has virtually done it all. She's been in virtually every magazine you can think of. 1 year into her WWE career, she was in the December edition of WWE Magazine on the cover of the thing, which was a big thing for her, and she loved having it promoted by fans on her MySpace page. If you were one of the individuals who commented on Kelly Kelly's first cover for WWE Magazine, you definitely made her day. I was one individual who actually liked the idea of her being on the cover of WWE Magazine with people like Michelle McCool, who at that time was a babyface and a fan favorite. A holiday edition of WWE Magazine, which was purchased by virtually every WWE fan and fans of the Divas division. And that would follow up with a lot of covers for Kelly Kelly, an FHM cover, a Maxim magazine article that profiled her as one of the hottest women in the world, which is an absolute honor for her to achieve. Eventually, what I think Kelly Kelly is going to achieve next on her resume is probably the 2011-2012 Diva of the Year, which is eventually going to come for Kelly Kelly. She has an absolutely impressive resume, working for all three brands of WWE, from ECW to Raw to SmackDown, to being traded between the two brands. She was a pro on the Divas installment of NXT Season 3, where she trained Naomi and actually got her rookie to be one of the final two competitors on the show. It came down to Naomi and Caitlyn, and Naomi came really, really close to becoming an African-American diva in WWE, courtesy of Kelly Kelly. We also saw Kelly Kelly compete on editions of NXT Season 3, probably more than any of the divas on the show. I think that, her resume definitely speaks for itself. When she first showed up on ECW, I thought I was watching a Subway commercial, and I was watching a commercial for a Barbie doll. But the presentation of Kelly as an exhibitionist definitely evolved from an exhibitionist into an in-ring competitor. We've seen Kelly be involved in short-term storylines with individuals like Kane, Drew McIntyre, Balls Mahoney, storylines that really didn't amount to anything, that could have gone in any direction, and a positive direction with them. It was a shame that some of the wrestlers and talent she had the opportunity to work with in these short-term storylines didn't really enjoy the storylines with Kelly, and I wish they would have, because they probably would have amounted to something. They could have done something with the Kane Kelly storyline. They could have done something with the Balls Mahoney Kelly storyline. They could have done something with the storyline between The Miz and Kelly, where she was a reluctant member of Extreme Expose when Extreme Expose actually turned heel. They could have done something with a lot of those storylines, but I think the only storyline that was actually finished up involving Kelly on ECW was the Balls Mahoney storyline, which involved the Balls Bear and Balls Mahoney having a short-term crush on Kelly, which he still reflects back on through interviews and radio programs. I've had the opportunity to speak to Balls Mahoney on more than one occasion, both on this radio program and for other radio shows, and he puts Kelly over very fondly, despite the few negative things he has to say about her. I'll never forget the whole Andrew Martin situation from 2 years ago when he overdosed on Oxycontin and unfortunately lost his life due to his unprofessional habits. One of many unprofessional habits that Andrew Martin was a victim of, and it was very unfortunate. She took that thing very hard, and courtesy of a lot of WWE superstars, which I have a tremendous amount of respect for, we found out the status of Kelly a couple of days after Andrew Martin's passing. We found out she was okay, courtesy of people like Jerry Lawler and Tommy Dreamer, who passed on positive things to say about her. Candice Michelle was also involved in that. Courtesy of myself and some of my co-hosts on the show, we were able to track down Kelly, find out her whereabouts, and know that she was okay, and that meant a lot to me. I myself, look at Kelly being the Divas champion still as that person I used to communicate with on MySpace. She was my inaugural friend when I first signed up for MySpace. She was the first one to accept my friend's request, and ever since then I think I felt connected somewhat to Kelly, and I still do feel connected to Kelly. In my eyes, she's not the Divas champion. In my eyes, she's probably one of the best friends I've ever had. And if there's one thing that the radio show hosts, columnists, and journalists take from this week's audio commentary, I want you to take into consideration the tremendous amount of respect that I have garnered for Kelly over the last 5.5 years. She's one of the most innovative and influential divas to come through the doors, perhaps since Trish Stratus. I know she has a very unorthodox moveset, from the cartwheels to the Frankensteiners to the hamstring elbows. Very different, but I think that her style inside of the ring varies from week to week depending on who she wrestles. I think that she matches her style very effectively with the people she wrestles. I think that she does the best she can through cutting promos. She's not the best promo cutter in the world. She can't exactly do some of the greatest interviews of all time, but I think none of that matters really to the WWE fans, because ever since the 90s, especially since the days of Sonny and Sable, who really put over looks in WWE and proved to everybody that looks definitely do sell with professional wrestling. I think that Kelly can relate to the term, and relates to the terms very well when I say that looks sell in professional wrestling. It doesn't matter if you can cut a decent promo or you can even wrestle. They'll put the belt on anybody that has a tremendous amount of looks and that can appeal to the audience. And I think Kelly through her television commercials, no matter if it was for the Raw vs. SmackDown video game, no matter if it was for 7-Eleven back in the day with Rob Van Dam, who I've had the opportunity to actually interview here on HEW Entertainment Variety Radio, she was able to appeal to the fans in her own unique way, even back as far as when she did that whole SummerSlam commercial back, I think it was in 2008. She did that whole SummerSlam commercial, the 7-Eleven commercials, the SummerSlam commercials. No matter what she did, she was able to appeal to the fans, and I think finally WWE are taking that into consideration and doing the most with it. I think that you can do a lot with Kelly if you book her right in appropriate feuds, and I'm hoping that this title reign she's going to have is going to last at least 2.5 months. I don't see it lasting 4 to 6 months. I don't see her having a Trish Stratus run or a Trish Stratus legacy where she holds the title 2 or 3 times. But the only negative thing I have to say about this whole Kelly winning the Divas Championship thing is, I saw it coming. I knew she was going to be voted in by the people with a unanimous voting, and the only negative thing I have to say about it is I have no idea what Michael Cole had on his mind during that match and during the commentary that was provided by supposedly one of the most skilled journalists in professional wrestling history. In my opinion, he needs to go back to Sarajevo and he needs to go back to Bosnia and start doing war commentary and war analyzing again, because in my opinion that's where he belongs, to be blowing up. His commentary for that match was absolutely atrocious. He relayed to the fans incorrect analogies. He relayed to the fans incorrect information. Some of the things that were incorrect, I don't know if the fans noticed, but I'm sure there are a number of fans out there listening to this who picked up on the same things I did. He alluded to the fact that Kelly had previously been the Divas champion. He made a mistake where he told everybody that Kelly had defeated Brie Bella for the Divas championship before. And I was thinking to myself, there is nowhere in WWE's history that it was documented that Kelly had the Divas Championship even once, nor the Women's Championship. So nowhere has it been written down that Kelly's been the Divas Champion, but he's sitting there at ringside, obviously tweeting on his Twitter account. Twitter's account for WWE, of course, is twitter.com/WWE. Has more followers than McDonald's, Nickelodeon, and Disney, by the way. Also, you can go to youtube.com/WWE for a variety of WWE content. Coming up in a future audio commentary, we'll be taking a look at the success of WWE's YouTube account, which is youtube.com/WWE. I guess Michael Cole was too caught up in Twitter and what was going on the internet during the Power to the People show. I know they had a Twitter section opened up on twitter.com, which was twitter.com/WWEP2P. So I guess he was paying too much attention to what was going on Twitter, and a word of advice I have for supposedly the most skilled commentator in the business is to get off Twitter and get off the fucking internet and actually pay attention to what's going on Raw, the show that's supposed to be the live program, the only presentation that's actually done live. The majority of WWE programming is taped, and here you are relaying incorrect information to the fans. JBL told me a long time ago, and this is what I have to say in response to Michael Cole's inaccuracy during this Divas Championship match, which had so much importance, maybe not for the fans, but to Kelly, who was competing in perhaps the biggest match of her career in a moment that she'll remember long after she's released 10 years from now.